Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member Meeks. Ambassador Waltz, on March 25th, 2026, the United States was one of only 3 nations to vote against a United Nations General Assembly resolution declaring the transatlantic slave trade and racialized chattel enslavement of Africans the gravest crime against humanity. The resolution passed by the world 123-3 with 52 abstentions. For many Americans and for people of African ancestry and descent around the world, that vote raised serious questions about our nation's moral leadership. I would ask you, Mr. Waltz, why did the United States vote no, as did our few and so few allies with us?
I think there were 2 issues that we had with the resolution, and of course, the issue of slavery, both here in the United States and around the world, was abhorrent and should be condemned. But the issue with the language of that resolution was that it advocated for international reparations fund, something that the administration is not in favor of. And further, despite
let me follow up on a second question.
We tried, but despite our efforts, they could not put a real bracket around what was slavery in world history. Let me ask you a second question. Do
you personally recognize the transatlantic slave trade as a crime against humanity? And if so, what specific language in the resolution would you prefer to have in the proposal for you to join?
I can go back, and we're happy to come talk to you about the language that we proposed. I'll have to take that for the record.
And the United States, for the record, has paid reparations in the past.
We tried to put some brackets around what was slavery.
We have paid reparations to those that Egyptians, enslavers, as well as those that have come over here from other countries.
African nations that participated in the transatlantic slave trade? We couldn't get a good definition.
Let me finish my question. I thank you so much, Ambassador. Many African leaders have raised questions about the restrictions during the World Cup. It was a great time and a time that we should have been very joyous. It was the 48 nations that participated. But something came to light during that period, is that there were 12 African nations that have total bans on travel to the United States. Also, embarrassingly so, I would say, for the grandmother Cape Verdean goalie, a country of 500,000 people. He couldn't get his grandmother in here. I don't know what threat she meant to the United States or to a person that works in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, but fans were denied the opportunity to be here. There are 14 other countries that have partial bans, such as Zambia, having to pay $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for a visa. So effectively, that's 26 nations that are banned in the African continent from coming to the United States. Almost half of Africans are banned from entering the United States of America, roughly 700 million people. Do you agree with this policy, or would you like to see it changed?
The only restrictions that I dealt with from the UN context are around the Ebola issue, and which did affect DRC. I just spoke to the DRC foreign minister this week about those. In terms of the visa bond issue, if that's what you're referring to, I would have to refer you to DHS in terms of those restrictions. I thought the World Cup was a fantastic success. We spoke to the Algerians, to the Moroccans, to the DRC.
Has been excluded. This came to light during that period. And as we look to our growth and future and relationships with the African nations, that they can't come here. I've heard of major foundations and other people that cannot bring employees over here, and countries, companies that have investments in Africa that want to do job retreats cannot get their employees to come over here, so it's excluding us from a nation. Let me ask you, with Cuba, would you say we are at war with Cuba in your definition?
I would not say that we are.
And I only highlight that because we have a naval blockade around an island nation.
We do not have a naval blockade. That is Cuban propaganda.
So goods and fuel can get to the island nation.
Propaganda.
Can fuel get to the United?
We contributed over $500 million in goods.
Go to the Cuban
from the United States to the Cuban regime.
Fuel to get to the
a
Cuban
blockade
country?
Would be a ring of Navy ships that are stopping anything from going in.
To get to the Cuban
that is literally Cuban propaganda. There is no blockade on Cuba.
So Cubans can receive fuel from anywhere around the world.
There are humanitarian waivers that the administration has put in place.
I would appreciate if you just simply were to answer the question. And last question regarding the Middle East.
Cuba
Who's your
is
primary
failing because
point
of communism and the corruption of its regime.
Do you deal specifically with Secretary Rubio, or do you take advice from Mr. Jared Kushner and Mr. Witkoff? Who's your primary point of contact for Middle East negotiations?
I deal with all three on a regular basis.
Are they on the same par?
I'm not sure you're.
I mean, are they equal in stature? One person is in the administration, 2 people are super volunteers. I just want to know for a point of structure.
Well, I
and
think our
process.
Secretary of State has been Senate confirmed in accordance with our Constitution and Senate rules.
Okay, thank you very much. I yield back.